Yo, what's going on with the viewers of the tube? Tyler here of Chico Crypto, coming to you guys with a very, very special interview. Yes, as you can tell from up there, I'm talking about Illuvium and one of the co-founders, Kieran Warwick. How you doing, Kieran?
Good, thanks, Chico. It's awesome to be back on the show. Very excited to catch up.
I'm very excited too, because you guys have a lot of stuff going on in the play to earn metaverse world. My first question is for those who don't know anything about Illuvium. So for those watching today who might not be familiar with your project, can you give us an elevator pitch of what you guys are doing?
Sure. So we are building the first AAA game on the blockchain. So we're building on top of Ethereum, utilizing Immutable's layer 2 network. The important thing there is that there's zero gas fees, no mint costs or anything like that. So you have a very streamlined in-game experience. What the game actually is, it's a combination of an open world collection game, very similar to Pokemon, where we have a bunch of characters. There's roughly 185 of them if you include the Doka, which is one of the tier zeros that you have. And yeah, people go out, they collect, they can craft things and create weapons. And then you take those alluvials and you battle them. And so we use auto battler mechanics, very similar to Dota auto chess or team fight tactics. And so it's this highly skillful battle against your opponent. And you're obviously trying to come up against them and beat their synergies that they can put down on the board, because all the different alluvials have different affinities and synergies and yeah, so it makes for this really cool experience where you kind of can do whatever you want. If you're more so a collector, you can go into the open world. There's 7 different regions. There's tons and tons of things for you to collect. Then if you might say, well, that's a little bit boring to me. I would rather just go and buy my characters off the exchange and then go and battle them, because I'm more of an esports person and competition is what gets me going. So we've kind of molded the two together so we can cater for a larger audience.
That's awesome to hear. So a question I'm going to throw at you regarding, your initial set of alluvials. You said about 185 of them?
Yeah.
Are you guys going to have like different seasons, or, are you going to increase the capacity of alluvials over time?
Yeah, that's the really cool thing. And the thing that I think a lot of people forget, the way that we keep our characters scarce and rare is they are in sets. So the first 185, that's set 1. And at a point in time when the government decides, our council, to end that set, we will start set 2, and you'll literally never, ever be able to capture those alluvials in game again.
So you're going to want to start early, is what you're saying.
100%.
100%.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I like that. So What was your guys' inspiration behind creating Illuvium, and how did you get from the idea to where you are today?
Yeah. So the crypto inspiration for me and what sort of spawned the idea to launch into it was actually Axie Infinity, one of the biggest games or the biggest game on blockchain still. The other inspiration since like childhood and between the 3 founders has been Pokemon for Grant and myself. We grew up, we just love collecting.
Me too.
But yeah, I think we spoke about that last time. There's just something about collecting that, 90s kids, we just did. I'm 89, but it's
88.
that sort of
88.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah,
man.
or 80s kids, basically. Yeah, I was the last. And for Aaron, the inspiration is team fight tactics. That's by far his favorite game recently. And so we grew up playing games. We had one PC in the family home growing up, and four boys. So it was like fighting over who can play the longest in World of Warcraft and EverQuest and all this stuff. So we've always talked about building a game, but it wasn't until the opportunity of blockchain and NFTs and being able to build a real world economy. It wasn't until that point that we really thought, let's just jump in.
Yeah. So the blockchain and the NFT, the advancement of these technologies has really pushed you guys to start something like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been something that has been frustrating to me in my gaming life, since very, very, very early on. I've thought, I've worked my ass off to craft this thing and go and collect all the materials to be able to make this very rare weapon. Like, let me go. And there are other people out there who want to buy that, who don't want to spend the time going around and collecting. Let me buy that. And, there are some games out there that have obviously a real world economy, but you just can't do it like you can do on blockchain.
Yep. It allows it to flow seamlessly. And especially with something like Immutable X, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So my next question dives a little bit into your family. I think most people know Kane Warwick, founder of Synthetix. He is your brother. However, what I have gathered is although your brother supported you, this is something you spearheaded on your own and wanted it to be independent from what he is building with Synthetix.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. While he's helped out a lot, us three brothers, we decided, we're going to go out on our own and do this no matter what. We spent the time to research, because GameFi is a little bit different. I mean, GameFi emerged because we realized that it's different to DeFi. There are some elements that don't work, that don't make sense for a typical gamer. And so, yes, he's helped out massively, with things like funding and partnerships and referring us to different people in the space. But we definitely have had to stand on our own 2 feet and go, okay, let's figure out what's our journey. What is GameFi and how do we sculpt that for the future? And so, there is a lot of crossover, but at the same time, there's sort of not.
Yeah. So I've been kind of speculating. I try to stay ahead of the game in crypto. I'm always the one trying to find things that are there before they are news. So I've been on the record a few times in my content predicting there could be some future synergy between Illuvium and Synthetix, some of the assets, NFTs in game, eventually bringing them onto the Synthetix platform. Can you set the record straight today? Is that a possibility?
Look, it's definitely a possibility. There's nothing on the cards right now. I was speaking to him the other day about having an NFT collection come out of Synthetix, and somehow we work out a way to potentially utilize them in some game in the future that we have. But again, it's more just rambling talk and that kind of stuff. There's definitely nothing set in stone.
But ramblings is how it begins. It's how it begins.
Look, yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. And to be honest, I think once Kane sees the game, he still hasn't played. Like, it's so frustrating. He's like, I'm in New York. I'm busy. I'm like, dude, busy.
Come on,
Three of your brothers have just built a AAA game. Like, are you joking? Like, get in there. And, but yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe when he sees that, it's going to draw out the inner gamer in him. And I don't know, I wish one day that he would build a game of his own, whether that's the Synthetix brand or not. I don't know. That's pretty crazy, but It's crypto. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. So now let's talk a little bit about the token. The Illuvium token is the governance token for the DAO. Can you talk more about the Illuvium Council's purpose and who sits on this council?
Yeah, so the Illuvium Council is what we established very, very early on. Even before TGE, we established that. And essentially what that council is there to do is steer the protocol in the right direction from a community perspective. We're definitely a community-driven project. It started off almost as an experiment. Can we have a fully decentralized game like this run by a government that is voted in by the community? And that's what their job is. We try and have a mix of core contributors, VCs, community members, and even to a certain extent, content creators like yourselves, because we want to cover the entire spectrum. A VC might have a different perspective to what you might have, or what I might have, because I'm seeing the insides of the team and the externals. So it's just about having the most holistic view of the protocol, and it's these people's job to make sure that the team does their job basically and doesn't do anything crazy. And if the community has any suggestions, whether it be new characters, balancing of characters, or changing of configurables like the emissions for staking and stuff like that. Literally all of these mechanisms are controlled by our governance. And so it's fully decentralized. The decisions are made by this council.
Oh, wow. So they are very integral to how the game moves forward.
Yes. Yeah. And just to give them a shout out on the council now, it's myself, Santiago, Ralord, Vetamore, and Vulcan at the moment.
Nice.
Yes.
Could Chico be on the council?
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. I like the sound of that. So
we need your army to come in.
I know, the Chico army. Don't worry, man. There are more than a few who are playing the beta already. I can't wait for it to open up, because there's going to be a lot, especially when they see this interview.
Awesome.
So now let's talk a little bit more about you guys as a game. A lot of people just think you're building, just Illuvium, the game. But you guys are more of a gaming studio that'll have many different titles and different offerings. Could you explain more about the overall plans of Illuvium for the next 2 to 5 and maybe even 10 years?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned 10 years, because not many people span out that far, right? Like it's crypto. It's like 10 years, dude. We might not even be, So we've endeavored to create a AAA studio, and so something akin to Blizzard, if you will, and without all the politics and terrible stuff that has come out of that studio in the past couple of years.
Well, that's where the governance is going to help.
Exactly. So it's a community, like that's what's so exciting about this. But yeah, we're building a universe of games, right? We don't call it a metaverse because this universe will sit inside the overall metaverse, but we are building our own set of NFTs that are all interoperable within games. And Illuvium is the first start. As you can see, there's an open world. It's not as diverse and immersive as an MMO yet. We're not talking that level yet in terms of the open world, but that's where we want to get it to. And we want to continue expanding it, continue adding on multiple games that cater to audiences that don't necessarily like doing playing auto battlers. You know, they might like exploring that open world, or they might, you know, there's so many different genres that we thought about going into. But honestly, for me, I feel like we're building this universe and we have this opportunity for interoperable assets and things like that. I would love to see our journey be just an expansion of that open world and just recreate that World of Warcraft type experience where, you know, everyone's running around. There's things like raids where you can go in and take down a boss with like 50 of your people. Yeah. Because you're a ranger, you've got all your alluvials. So then like maybe 8 people are going into this raid, but 8 people have like 20 different alluvials. They're all synergizing and you're trying to take down this massive boss. Then you're like halfway through taking down the boss and another team scoots on in and your health is already down and they're going to start taking the boss. They're going to kill your team plus the boss and take your loot. But the loot is real world value. That's the exciting thing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that's what I would like to see us expand into. And as you know, that type of game, it's a big, long build.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Large undertaking. I like how you said you guys are building a universe inside of the metaverse. You know, there's a lot of projects who are saying we're creating the metaverse, you know. No, the metaverse is going to be multiple universes that are interoperable. So could you see your guys' you know, avatars, you know, alluvials being used in other games? Not yet. No, not yet, but eventually.
Yes, yeah, eventually, yes. Yeah, you know, if you're looking forward 5, 10, 15 years, yes, it definitely is possible and much easier to be done on blockchain using NFTs. But we're still a ways away. I don't want to paint this picture of, you know, you're bringing your CryptoPunk in to face Atlas in the alluvial, you know, like it's like what are the CryptoPunk stats? What are so
not yet.
We're away
soon.
Soon, yeah.
Soon, 5 to 10 years. But
yeah,
it's crypto. You never know, man. It could be 2 years.
True, absolutely.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about the team. We talked about the council and everything. So I've heard you guys are expanding, bringing on a lot of players. You know, could you talk a little bit about the team and where you see them over the next few years?
Yeah, I see the studio growing to somewhere between 500 and 1,000 people. Right now, full-timers, we've got about 225, something around there. We're in hyper growth mode. You know, obviously we only spoke 6-7 months ago or something like that, yeah. And we're already, you know, I think back then we were at like 70 people, and now we're over 200. So it's a huge undertaking like that. That's why it's frustrating for me when I see other projects say like, yeah, you know, we're going to build out this ridiculous MMO or RPG or first-person shooter with like AAA graphics, and we're doing it launching March next year. And it's like,
no
what?
Way.
You just start, like you have 6 people. Like we have 200 people and we are delaying. Like we thought we would build this in November, which is a 12-month build, which is pretty insane. We missed that by about 6 months. We've got 200 people. Like if you're telling me you're going to do that with 6 people or 20 people or 30 people, like I just don't believe it. I'm sorry.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening. A lot of these projects, in my opinion, are going to have a reality check.
We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
Time will tell.
So now let's get into Illuvium a little bit deeper. We've talked about, you know, the creation of the project, the team, and everything, but I want to learn about the current game and economy. So with Illuvium, there's multiple staking pools, revenue distribution, rumors of future merchandise, Illuvatars, land, etc. And some of these things like land and Illuvatars I will ask about here in a few minutes. But with all the different options you offer, can you explain what is the overall economic strategy with Illuvium and how it incentivizes users to get involved?
So it's a very big, broad question, simply because we have so many different ways for people to earn, and there are incentives all across the board. The first incentive is you're actually going to have fun playing our game, right? There's value in the entertainment. Now, obviously, we're in crypto, so let's get to the juicy part about how can I actually make money.
How to play to earn.
Exactly, right? So you have the ability, if you're a collector, you go into this open world, you start collecting these alluvials, you can sell them on the Illuvadex. So that will give you that there's going to be other people who don't want to collect, and they're going to be esports guys. And for them, they know that they need a Ramfire, but they don't want to spend a year going around the world looking for a Ramfire, but they need it for their composition in their team so they can beat, the other esports teams that are out there. So what that guy is going to do is he's going to go and buy that Ramfire for a premium. So the little old collector who doesn't want to battle or anything like that, he's got a massive incentive to go out and collect these super rare alluvials, because on the other side, there's people waiting for them to hit the Illuvadex so they can snap them up and then have an advantage when they're going and doing Leviathan battles and stuff like that. So there's two people right there. You've got the collector incentivized by selling their things that they collect. Then you've got the esports player who's incentivized by winning tournaments and being the best, which means that he earns in-game yield. Then you've got the guy who's like, I actually don't even like gaming, but I know gaming's a thing and I'm going to look for the best game to invest in, right? And right now I take a look at the landscape and it seems like Illuvium is the way to go. You would then go into the staking pools and be able to stake Illuvium and start earning rewards. Those rewards you can either take in ILV or SILV. So that's another route for you to earn in Illuvium. There's so many other things. Like we could go into Illuvium Zero, which is our mini game for landholders.
Oh.
Those guys, they make 5% of approximately 5% of every in-game transaction in Illuvium.
Nice.
So yeah, like that is like a business in itself, right? Like you, if you look at that, right, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go buy a fast food chain. Instead of doing that, you can literally buy a set of plots, start building on them, or set up other people around the world to build on them. If you don't feel like doing it and you have other things to do, you can literally set up this mini business where you're creating this fuel, which on the other side in Illuvium, people want that fuel. So you're selling it at a premium. So like it's dead set a real world economy just all across the board.
Awesome. So one thing I've always, wanted to figure out is regarding, the Ethereum within Illuvium. So there was, the fight for ETH, tagline for you guys. So how does that, tie into the alluvial ecosystem?
So that is pretty much just a straight degen mode where we call it the Leviathan mode, where essentially it's guys like Kane calling out someone like Stanny from Aave saying like, I'm going to smash you. Let's go into a battle. It's a mode where everyone else can view if they want, and you can jump in and spectate. And the idea is that Kane can bet Stanny, say 100 ETH or 1 ETH or who knows how crazy they are. They battle it out and the winner takes the prize money. And the Illuvium vault takes a small clip.
I like that. Have you guys ever thought about letting the spectators bet on the matches as well?
Yeah, yes,
Yes,
but
but
it's
I
it
bet
gets
a little sticky legally.
Yeah, it gets a little. We'll probably let someone else handle that.
All right, my next question is, what are alluvials and what can owners do with them?
Yeah, so they're the characters in game. So there's alluvials, and then you've got Illuvatars. Illuvatars, they're your in-game avatar. So very similar to CryptoPunks and stuff like that in terms of tapping into that NFT community. Because it's a little bit weird how we've set it up, but because we have so many players, or potentially are going to have so many players, we couldn't say, hey, there's only 5,000 of these available, because people would riot. They would like, that's just, we don't get an in-game avatar because of that. So we've allowed unlimited mints of these.
Ooh, nice.
Which you might seem like that's insane. It's going to be minted down to zero. The thing is that there's only like the alluvials, there's sets of these. So if you don't mint in the first set, you miss out on getting potentially I actually think the Doka is one of the characters in set one for Illuvatars. So if you don't do it yourself, right? And surely your avatar in game is going to be a Doka. Like you're going to use him because it's Chico.
He's right there, you guys. Wait, oh. Chico.
But if you miss that and set two rolls around, you're going to have to go onto the marketplace and buy it from someone who's not going to sell it to you for cheaper than what they bought it.
Oh no, I know. These sons of guns get all my names and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, they're a really cool thing that we're launching. There's slots on them, so you can add accessories like cigars and like spectacles and hats and all sorts of cool stuff.
Awesome. I can't wait to play in game with my own character. So cool. It's
going to be good.
So now I want to talk about the land. We spoke a little bit about that, but so for those who don't know about Illuvium land, what is the benefit of owning it? And can you talk more about the tiers of land, pricing you just released, and how the viewers can participate and purchase the land for themselves?
Yeah, so there are 5 tiers. Tier 1 through to 5. There are tier 0s, but again, that's our free-to-play version. We just to be able to give someone the ability to try it out before they start spending a whole bunch of money. But essentially, it's a city builder game. So they call them an idle clicker. So it's not the most entertaining. Well, from my perspective, there's a lot of people out there that are probably like, hey, I love playing those games. And, there are games out there where they do love building cities and stuff like that. But it's all about getting up the production on your site. So each land plot has a certain amount of fuel production. As you go up the tiers, your land will produce more of that fuel, but then you've got to build the structures to actually extract that fuel. And then the idea is, on the other side, the consumers of that fuel are the people that want to travel to a new region and start collecting alluvials. In order to do that, you need to spend fuel. So you got to go and buy it. Who do you buy it off? You buy it off the land owner. So that creates this super cool real world economy, which almost has like 2 parties to it, where the landowners, they're looking like they can sit on their fuel and not sell it back to the main game. And if they hold on to that fuel, whatever fuel type it is, and there's three types across the board, whatever they're holding back is going to increase the price of the in-game transaction. So travel might go from $5 up to $7 because there's just not enough fuel, and the landowners are being barons, and they're just sitting there and they're like, nope. We've like, maybe they've set up like some sort of committee, and all of them have said, no, like we want to get a premium on our land, on our fuel. And so it sets up this like super dynamic, really entertaining. I don't even know. Like it's going to be awesome. I reckon it's going to be super fun.
So when is the land sale? When are we going to be able to begin getting it?
On the 2nd of June.
Ooh, is that first time information?
Literally the first time I've said this to anyone. Yes.
Oh, first time breadcrumbs for the Chico army. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, it's can't wait for this sale.
I can't either, man. I'm going to be picking myself up many plots because, of course, I don't have the time to build myself, but hey, I got an army of people. So congrats on that beta release. I'm sure some of the Chico army are some of the beta testers, and I was actually able to be accepted, and I've had a really fun time playing and figuring it all out. Now that there is a working product, I heard you and one of your brothers have made a substantial size bet of $1 million. Could you explain that more?
Yeah, as you know, we're very, very competitive, and Grant said something. So for context, Grant is one of the founders, and he's the art director. He said something on Twitter that annoyed me or whatever, and I bit back, and I said like, see you in the arena, like let's put some money on it. And then he was like, done. And I said, yeah, really? Like, let's put $1 million of ILV on it then, if you really want to put your money where your mouth is. And of course, in typical Warwick fashion, he didn't back down from that and said straight away, I'm in. And then we made it a bit of a spectacle. He trained for like 20, 30 hours. But to be fair, he had never played an auto battler before. So I actually ended up winning. But instead of the kind of plot twist there, instead of him giving me the ILV, we ended up deciding to spread that ILV across the entire team.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So a reward for the team. Little friendly fight that ended out good. I like it.
Yes. Yeah. It was a good result.
That's good, man. So, could you explain a little bit more about the beta? Is it open right now? And when do you guys think, it will move out of beta into,
Yeah, so we're working on getting PvP in as soon as possible. The game right now, it's fun, right? But it's a small version of it. It's survival mode. It's meant to be a training session, get to know the alluvials, work out the battle system, the synergies and stuff like that. Without PvP, it over time it is going to get boring, right? Like I have to say it, like, and that's the thing. Like we're never ever going to, like, if the game sucked, I would tell you. Like I would actually tell you and be like, God damn it, we need to go back to the drawing board. But yeah, it's. The beta is good. We need to get to PvP. We're looking to, as soon as we get PvP in, we're going to add yield, and then we're going to open it up. So nice. We're still on track for June, and yeah, we're pretty confident we're going to hit that.
Awesome. Well, what about future releases from Illuvium? Are you guys going to possibly be issuing a new token, or will Illuvium ILV always be the main token of the ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely not. Always ILV will be for Illuvium, for the entire universe that I've been talking about. For all intents and purposes, the studio's token is ILV. So anything it produces is under that umbrella, which is, again, really important because of the way that our tokenomics is set up. 100% of revenue distribution, anything that the protocol generates in terms of revenue, goes back to the people that are staked in the protocol. So if all of a sudden we created another game that had a different token, it wouldn't be distributed back to ILV holders, and that just doesn't make sense to us.
No, I agree. I'm not a big fan of when projects, release multiple tokens. It's kind of grinded my gears for a long time. So I like to hear that, man.
It's a little cash grabby. We don't need the cash. We've got enough runway to build the game. We've got 3-4 years in the kitty. We've got another capital raise coming up very, very soon. It's like we don't need to do cash grabs. We just don't.
Yep, exactly. So is there anything else you would like to add or let the viewers at home know about Illuvium or what's coming?
All I would say is get into the Discord. If you want to play the beta, we're opening it up slowly as a thank you. There's no monetary gain that you're going to get from early access or whitelists or anything like that, but you get to play the game earlier than other people potentially if you're, an active member of Discord. And that's our way of just saying thank you to our community and giving back.
Awesome. Well, you guys, links for everything Illuvium are below. If you want to get in the beta, like you said, join the Discord, start participating, and maybe you could be one of the ones they let in. Well, Kieran, thank you so much for the conversation, man. It was a great conversation. I mean, Illuvium is my number one, GameFi, play to earn crypto project out there. Of course, I appreciate everything you guys have done for the space already, and I can't wait to see the future of Illuvium.
Happy to come on anytime. Thanks so much for having me. We love your community. We love the Chico dokas that are floating around. It's awesome to see, and I'm glad that some of your community are already playing. It's good to see.
It's awesome to see. Yeah, and thank you again for creating this guy.
No worries.
As the Chico army is going to be fighting not only me, but thousands of other people to get that one and play in game.
100%.
All right, Kieran. Well, have a great rest of your day. And I can't wait to have you on again soon.
Thanks, man. See ya.
See ya.